Damn it, part two. That's what I try to get out. It's not that we have to actually run away from Canada, okay? So it's just that the provincial constitution, that's non-existent, because you guys know it's the Alberta Act. Okay, these guys run under an act, right? I'm sure most of you guys, anybody that watches my shit already knows that Alberta's an act, BC's an act, Saskatchewan's an act, okay? But so the only way to get any kind of sovereign style, lack of better words, but any kind of like of rights of the land, actually, of the natural resources of each man and woman that is within the metes and bounds of that land, or on the metes and bounds of that land, is to get a ground up constitution. So it's not like we have to leave Canada. No, what we need is a constitution. Now get this, and I want you guys to pay attention to this, okay? The king, or one of the kings, back in the, I don't know when it was, probably 1600s or something. I think it was, I believe it to be. But there was a king, and he put out an edict saying, everyone has the right to bear arms. Okay, back then they had flintlocks and big swords, and it was considered, you were considered to be a hood if you hid your weapon. So it was open carry back in the day. When the United States of America was put together, all they did was take the king's law and bring it into their law. I don't think that law has ever been turned over of the king, all right? Now here, within the corporate body here, this place we call Canada, the Corporation of Canada, right, the Canadian courts will not recognize anything before 1850. Well, what the fuck do you do with Magna Carta? Was not Magna Carta set up see, Magna Carta was basically the first real legal reflection of the common law. Okay, and this is basically where the legal society and common law start paralleling each other pretty good in our modern times, even though it was 1,000 years ago, within our modern times. And so, I'm not going to get into, but how can you have the rule of law, even within the corporate body, even within the legal society, if you've just outlawed the Magna Carta here? Now, there's a difference between legal and lawful, and this is why I was kind of coming, this is why I was coming on to AJ and critical, because guys need to know who the fuck you are. And it's great to learn about admiralty law. It's great to learn about statutes and staples. It's great to learn about equity. It's great to learn all these different laws, human rights law. I mean, I spent a number of years studying human rights law. But it means nothing to a man or a woman. And because you and I are not card-carrying members of the legal society, okay? We're not a member of that society. You and I can have the best case at any legal court and still be found, sorry guy, you're still guilty. Why? I just laid it out to you. I just told you all the statutes and everything that allows me to do it. Well, yeah, but the only problem is you're not a card-carrying, a union card-carrying legal member. So, you're off base, buddy. So what they do is they use our person. So Canada is just liking Canada to a trust company, which it is. But Canada is a trust corporation, a trust company, okay? A trust, all right? And so every man and woman on this land is supposed to be a beneficiary. Now, the folks of the Privy Council and these fuckers, right? These shills, these traitors, these guys, what they do, all right, when they get their titles and entitlements and so on and so forth, and you see that circle of family running Ottawa? It's a circle, man. That's an inner circle. Everywhere you look, there is no independence. There is no House of Commons for the common man on this common ground. with the common law? No, these guys are shills. So, but, so what they do is they give you a person. Now the person's a benefit, right? So they assume and presume, well, hopefully they assume. This is what you wish another man or woman to do if they're jacking you up through the legal society. But they presume. It's the presumption that you are acting like as this legal person. And that's how they have jurisdiction over you. And then the minute you go in, now if you start studying admiralty law and this and that and the whole fucking bar thing and everything else, I understand what this guy's telling you. I understand these guys are just, fish, you're fresh. I get it. But if you start using any of that shit, you'll be hung, all right? You'll be fucking hung. And what's happened in the past is guys would go in, like those freemen guys. They've got me profiled as a fucking freeman. That's the last thing I am. I'm a man born free. I'm not no fucking freeman. Do I look like a piece of legislation? I've never met Diefenbaker. And what do I give a shit about their legal crap anyways? What does that have to do with I, your fellow man? And how is a man subservient to his creation? So just getting back to this whole thing, what was going on with these free men, okay, and was they were going in, they understood the trust company, they understood the beneficiary, but they were going in and speaking a lot of legalese, and they were trying to use a lot of legalese, and they're putting in stacks of paperwork like this. Now the courts didn't have a choice but to figure a way to shut these fuckers down, because you're just wasting everybody's time with this shit. And I guess it would be kind of abuse of the process. So like when they first started doing this stuff, guys, yeah, they got away with some stuff. Yeah, because the courts, you see, the courts weren't prepared. A lot of the those people, those ones in the black robes, were not prepared for guys to come up, and it would catch them off guard. So what's been happening over the last 20 years is they've been studying. So I was reading something from Assistant Chief Justice Alberta. His name's Peter something. And yeah, no, they got Carl Lentz in there. They've got John Talk in there. They've got Meats versus Meat shit. They've got all kinds of stuff in there. And it's like, if you were to use a Canadian Book of Styles, like how to write, and this is what the Canadian Book of Styles is how they teach government actors how to write proper and punctuate proper and how to capitalize proper. And if you use that Canadian Book of Styles and you write a document, put it to the court, they'll immediately hit you as a free man on the land or one of those sovereign citizen dudes or whatever, right? And I try to explain to people, there was one chick the other night, I think it was on one of Raging's casts, but she's going on, well, I was just trying to explain to her that none of us are sovereign. We're only sovereign over that which we create. So as an author of my property, say an author, a father of my property, that may resemble children, but are property of I. As the author of that property, I am sovereign over that property until that property comes of age and they're able to. Now, legal society, they can say what they wish. They can come out with some kind of legal fucking bullshit saying you must. Well, I don't know who the fuck you is, okay? I don't see my name on that document, and how is it that you have the right to trespass upon your fellow man's property? You don't. You better have a higher claim. And when I first saw this co-parent, I saw this co-parent thing tumble quickly. Seven, shut up. This co-parent thing fucking tumbled quickly. It started with a man, he playing with his kids, they got Nerf guns, they're fighting the imaginary monsters and they're shooting the monsters. Kid draws something on a whiteboard, next thing you know, the cops are in, boom, crashing his house and putting him in handcuffs and hauling him to jail and searching through his fucking wife's underwear drawer because somebody said something about something. That is not the rule of law. And then I watched that woman premier over there, whatever the fuck her face was, and that woman there, she comes out, well, yeah, that's basically okay because, we're co-parents. Well, fuck you, co-parents. And just remember something, guys, there's no such thing as parental rights. Okay? There's no such thing. You show me a law that describes parental rights. Show it to me. I'd like to see it. Right? You know who a co-parent of a person is? Probably the province. You know who the co-parent of the province is? Probably the country. You know who the co-parent of the country is? Or maybe the grand poobah parent? The inner city of London. The crown. The corporate crown. The inner city of London. Well, that's a sovereign state, just like the Vatican and Washington. Everybody knows this. Every fucking buddy knows this. Like I say, back in the 80s and 90s, when I was first seeing this UN bullshit and seeing this stuff that's happening today coming down the pike, nobody fucking believed me. Nobody. Al, you got two heads, where's your tinfoil hat? I had young kids. I got run over by a couple cars on my way home from work one day. Wasn't supposed to live. I lived. God wasn't finished with me yet. So I'm IVs and fucking canes, I'm going down the hallway to the TV room at the end of the hallway at the old General in Calgary. I love that hospital. Way better than that Lockheed that it was brand new and replaced. You should see it. It's a nightmare over there. But so I'm in the TV room, and there's the invasion of, to liberate Kuwait, right? And here's the invasion of Iraq or Kuwait or whatever. And George Bush Sr. Welcome to New World Order. Next thing you know, I'm getting all these phone calls in the hospital. Hell, fucking New World Order, you were telling the truth. I'm like, you know what? You could have come and visited me, brought me some fruit. How about helping us out with a babysitter so I could see my old lady? I think I saw her once in four plus months I was in the hospital. Insurance was giving me $600 a month and rent was $500 a month. So my wife started selling off, with my permission, of course, my van and property and stuff. I won't get into that story, not publicly. Privately I do. It's too funny what my brother-in-law found in my van. Anyways, yeah, so all I wish to do, and I'm listening to all you guys every day, and there's certain things we all have. Every one of us is the same, and every one of us is unique. And what I'm finding with whether it's Mr. Campo Lee or that angry white guy Vaughn, Frank, I noticed today he was settled down a little bit, but I understand he's angry. But Frank, just because you just became a father today, just because you just figured out there's something wrong with the country, this has been going on for a long, long time. These people plan this shit ahead by generations. We've never planned anything ahead past our nose. Because we were brought up that way. We were kept in the dark. We were kept ignorant. We were just like, hey, fucking go to school, get a job, right? In my day, it was, get a trade. Get a trade. I was never any kind of university. I was a sweat hog. But I got myself a couple of trades. And then found out, after being told I was stupid and useless and not worthy to be fucking breathing air, I found out that I really love stuff like math and stuff. And when I started studying things to do with engines and that, I just, that's when I fell in love with, and found out I wasn't the stupid, useless piece of shit that all my teachers told me I was, because I didn't fit in. Now, What are they telling your kids right now, guys? That if you don't get the vaccination, you're a stupid, useless piece of shit? That your parents are enemies of the state? Or if you question anything about particulates in the atmosphere versus fucking CO2 versus, hey, when it gets hotter, the CO2 goes up, not the other way around, that your kids are useless pieces of shit, or their parents are? When are they going to send these so-called social workers with Gestapo to your fucking door to take away your fucking property? Because you're a useless piece of shit. And when that happens to you guys, which is happening more and more now, right? That when that happens to you guys, your neighbor's going to sit there and talk about what bad people you are. Because you're bad people. Because you don't believe what CBC has been trying to get across or brainwash you. How the hell in the 21st century, are we in the 21st century? Are we paying for Bolshevik propaganda through CBC? You know, 100 years ago I could see, or what was it, 1940s or whatever it was, right? When CBC was first incorporated, when the Crown Corporation was first fucking incorporated, I could see a need for it, okay? You know, like we have a big country, very few people. I think there might have been, I think there was maybe 10 people, 10 million people, sorry. You know, throughout this vast land. And I could see having a need for a public-funded news station. Just so we can hear what's going on in the different neighborhoods of the land. But there's no need for them guys now. Get the fuck out of our free press. These guys are all shills. And look how fast they're going. Look how fast they're talking. Well, you can't trust social media. You can't trust... Fuck you. These are people. Okay. Mr. Mrs. Public Servant. These people. This man, this woman, this young person, or a young man, young woman, that are online sharing, okay, through a platform that's offered to everyone. All right? These Google and all these fucking guys, these alphabet companies, they're not editors, okay? They're not, look, it's a platform, all right? And it's supposed to be offered to the public, and there's no way they should interfere, no matter how much you disagree with them. But these are the folks that you're supposed to be serving. And all they are is your attack, attack, attack. You know, honestly, I think Ian Brexty is probably one of the best investigative reporters. And I'm not putting anything, Press for Truth, I'm not putting anything against him. Because he's been around for a while. He does a decent job. He does a very good job. I think he hung himself when he went over to Europe and was quizzing Mr. Head Alphabet dude. But, you know, Ian Brexty, you know, and Sheila Gunn Reid, you know, another awesome investigative journalist. But you and I, well, I don't know about you, but I wish to stand naked as a man, or naked as man, period. Right now, there may be certain benefits that I do wish to accept by this public service. But to twist me into one of your trustees, no thank you. No thank you, I'm a beneficiary. Now if you wish to cut me off those benefits, what am I going to do about it? Because benefits are exactly that. It's like these guys striking, you know, striking the refinery there, what, they're making what, 10 grand a month, 8 grand a month, whatever, they want more money. And so they're striking because something to do with the benefit of their pension. Dudes, a pension is a benefit. You don't have a right to, no one has a right to collect a pension. No one. And they can take that pension away anytime they wish. That's why they don't worry about funding the pensions. There's no law that forces them to fund the pensions. And look at all the debt. So this nation's going in so much in debt that you got a crisis like Corona. Okay, what if we as a nation ended up sealed in because it got out of hand here. Now what are we going to do? Because we're so fucking far in debt, we already can't pay our bills. Who's going to lend us any money? Who's going to help us with food? You think Africa is going to help us with food? Do you think, who the fuck's going to help us with food? The UN? Puh. Puh. I want to spit. Just having the UN itself, after the League of Nations failed, just proves that they've been planning this stuff. This is a generational thing. And all these folks, Rothschilds, Rockefellers, da-da-da-da-da, I mean, all these guys operate in trust. They run trust companies, guys. They have common law trust, otherwise known as Massachusetts Trust, otherwise known as, you know, there's a number of names, private trust, family trust. You could sue, say if Mr. Rockefeller was, I forget which one he was, or big oil dude, but you know, you could sue Mr. Rockefeller all you want. The guy would never own anything. The richest man in the world at the time was not rich, he was a pauper. Because everything, all the money was trust, in trust. Canada is a trust company. Now, it may be an illegitimate trust company. And as I say, illegitimate because of Queen Victoria, and you guys can watch Doug's stuff. All right? If you want to get clued in on that. I'm glad more people are cluing in, you know, because back in the 80s and early 90s, I felt like a fucking lone wolf. I felt like a fucking retard. Nobody wanted to pay attention. And I survived death by the skin of my goddamn teeth, you know. And, you know, I believe it has a lot to do with my creator. No, I didn't meet my creator after I got run over, before. And it was only by the grace of God that I lived. And I had young ones to bring up. I had a heavy responsibility. And that's why I get chuckling at Frank. He gets so fucking angry, you know, and you know, he's and I got this, and I got a family, and I got that. You know, Frank, chill, buddy. Okay, we all have that. It's not just you, man. And I realize, I understand. You're putting in the hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. And I think you are worthy of the donations. Definitely. And I wish people could donate to you better. Maybe, or would donate to you better, especially with your, you know, this whole Corona thing that you're doing. I think it's very, very awesome. Very awesome. Thank you. Also, I just want to touch on, yeah. So here I am thinking, there's 3 people freaking listen to me. I'm like, okay, but at least if I'm talking to 3, you know, they can get a clue. I mean, my niece is, you know, she's got her 2 kids now and her husband, and they always ask questions about, you know, the difference. See, even my niece, as much as I love her dearly, Tony's daughter, I don't think she quite gets the difference between the person and her as woman. Okay? Because as woman, okay, her author created her a woman. All right? Whether it be her God, whether it be her father and mother. Okay? But whether it be nature, whether it be a Big Bang, it doesn't matter. She was created woman, and so she has a little issue, like with just trying to define the difference between her person and her as woman. And I think a lot of the people, young people, they all think a person is a man or a woman, and of course, you can't have a person without a man or a woman. It's impossible. We created persons. Okay, but a person is just an actor. Okay, that benefit that we receive from the corporate body politic, called the birth certificate, in itself is not a person, it's a benefit. That's why, you know, there's a famous video of that young man, you know, given the judge his person, right, the birth certificate. That guy ended up going to jail. You see, so, and what was concerning me was just the way that when Critical and AJ were talking about, you know, admiralty law and stuff, and this guy that teaches it and that, and I'm sure, I haven't watched this guy, but I'm sure he knows lots about it. But the thing is, guys, do not step back in time, get ahead of time. And if you go in there, and this is why I really want to do a film on Ezra. So I'm going to go move a bunch of snow, and I'm going to see if I can get this new damn fangled technology to work that my son hooked me up with. So I would love to go over the interview with that man who acted as an investigator, the other man that acted as an investigator, and that man, that silly little Jewish man, he used to be a lawyer. Okay, I thought he did okay on some stuff. I watched who's the lawyer that became a vlogger out of Montreal. I was listening to him this morning. I was getting things done, and how he analyzed it. And I like listening to him because I appreciate just listening to his legal opinion about stuff, and why somebody that's from the legal society, that's qualified, that has a legal person, talks about the legal aspect of stuff. I like to just put it in perspective on the lawful act of stuff. You know, what's lawful. Now, don't forget, and this is one thing I wanted to mention, the legal society, because it's common law land, the legal society also has its common law. So common law just does not only pertain to that man or that woman, the customs of their people, but it also pertains to the legal society, to that man or woman who acts within the legal society as a legal person. They also have it. It's a mirror image. Legal is a mirror image of what's lawful. Something I want to do a film on that Frank was doing. And it got me a little choked up. Frank's yelling, he's mad, he's going on about, another court that recognizes, you know, how they just recognize, I don't know if it wasn't the native guys. Native guys got their common law courts a number of years back. I think it started in Saskatchewan, but I can't remember who. Maybe I don't know. I don't think it was LGBTQ. I think it was somebody. And Frank's just going on about it, and he's going rah 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 rah. And the law should apply to everybody, fucking the same, and this and that. And this is so once I get this technology working a little bit for me, agreeing with me, I just can't do a live stream because I just don't have the speed. But I want to show. I would like, not that Frank's ever going to watch my shit, but I like to show you guys where I disagree with Frank on what he said about the law. And that was just a few days ago when I saw it. And because as a common law land, okay, that man or woman in a black robe, if they see her a man or woman, and the customs of the man or woman, the customs of the man or woman apply to that man or woman when they stand at that venue, all right? You guys always talk jurisdiction. Start thinking about venue and research venue. But anyways, because now I'm talking about Supreme Court, Superior Court, Queen's Bench, which are all Queen's Bench, all right? There was an amalgamation of the courts a long time ago, and because of inner fighting between courts way back in the day. Maritime courts were fighting with the Admiralty courts. Were both trying to fight and take over the King's courts, and they almost did a couple of times. They went inland on the King, and the King just put his foot down and kicked them back out. And then eventually, here, you know, we just amalgamated. So the man or the woman in the black robe, they're like the high priest, okay? They're both in the second dimension and they're in the third dimension, okay? They can see a man and they can see a person. They can translate from the two-dimensional legalese over to the common parlance, all right? So that's one of their jobs, because this is a common law land. And So anyways, I just wish to do something on that one show that Frank did, just to show you guys where I disagree with this man. Now I enjoy